Hello students, in this session we will learn about text file handling in Python. In the CBSE is issued a sample question paper, we have a 3 marks question allotted for text file handling. It is a choice question, either or, both the parts being text file handling. So you can easily score those 3 marks. In this session you will learn what is text file, how to handle a text file, how to read data from a text file, how to write content onto the text file. Okay. What are text files? Text files are the normal files that contain all the ASCII characters. Any ASCII character it may contain. What are ASCII characters? All the characters that you find on the keyboard. And you can easily open them using text editors like Notepad. They are saved with the extension .txt. We can save our data, that is the content you can save inside a text file. You can retrieve that content from the text file using Python. Instead of opening Notepad and typing the content directly, you can read the data or write the data onto the text file using Python. Now, when you want to read or write data from the file or to the file, you need an object called a file handle. A file handle is an object in Python which helps us to read or write from or to the text file. What is meant by a file handle? A file handle is like a cursor. When you open Notepad or Word document and type some content, the cursor moves. Wherever the cursor is placed, you will read or write content in that place, right? In a normal text editor. That is the same way the file handle works for us. It keeps moving when you read or write. Okay, now how to open a file? In order to work with a file, step 1 is to open a file. How to open a file? The syntax for opening a file, you can open a file in 2 ways. The first one is use the file handle. Give a name for the file handle. Say for example, I have given FH. Not necessary you have to use the same name. It's an identifier. You can give any name as you wish. FH equal to open lesson.txt. Comma R means the file opening mode. There are different file opening modes. We will explain. You will learn about it now. Okay. After opening, you will do the reading or writing procedure. After that, the file should be closed. So how will you open a file? Give a name for the file handle. Give the word open. Give the name for the file. What is the file opening mode? Close the bracket. And after writing the coding, you should give fh.close, which means the file will be closed after working. This is one way of opening the file. There is another method called with open. How will you do that? With open, give the name, file opening mode, as you have to use the keyword as fh, colon. Give a colon. Don't forget this. After you give a colon, you remember after a colon, you have to give a block of code. What is meant by a block of code? The indentation should be followed. Like how you give after if statement, else statement, you give a colon and indent the block of lines. Same way, you have to indent all the contents inside with open block. Now, what is the advantage of doing with open? When you open a file using with open, you need not close the file. Once the code gets over, when the block of code gets over, the file will be automatically closed. So when what is the difference between these two coding? The first one need not require any indentation. You can continue the coding and close the file. The second method, you have to indent all the lines, but after that you need not close the file, will be automatically closed. You will learn, I will give you a demo now. Now, I told you there is a file opening mode. After the name of the file, you have to give the file opening mode. There are 6 file opening modes. We will see what they are. Before that, when you give the name lesson.txt, you have to mention the path where this lesson.txt resides, whether it is in C drive or D drive, which is the place, the location. When here I have not mentioned any location. So what will Python understand? Python understands that this file is present in the default working folder, the current working folder of Python. So when you save your file, suppose you have a default file called a folder called Python 39 in which all the default file programs are saved. In the same folder, this lesson.txt will be saved. In case you wish to change the path, then you have to mention the complete path. C:/documents/ and give the entire path. I will show you how to do that. Okay. Now let us see what are the file opening modes. You have 6 file opening modes: R, R+, W, W+, A+. Now, when you open a file in R and R+ mode, if in case the file does not exist, but you try to open such a file, it will cause an error. So I've given, is an error caused if the file does not exist? Yes. In which mode? R and R+ mode. If the file does not exist, it will cause an error. But when you open the same in W mode, A mode, if the file does not exist, no error is caused. Instead, a new file with that name is automatically created by Python. Okay, so you have chances of getting a question like, which file opening mode causes an error if it does not exist? So it is R and R+. Okay, which file opening mode automatically creates a file even when it does not exist? Then you can refer to any one of these 4. Okay, then when you open a file in a file mode, where is the file handle placed? That is, what did I tell you? File handle means it's like a cursor. So when you open a file in read or read+ mode or W mode, the file handle is placed in the beginning of the file. But when you open a file in A and A+ mode, the file handle is placed at the end of the file, which means there are some existing data already in the file. So you have to append the data. A+ stands for append mode. Append. What is appending? Adding to the existing content. So the file cursor, the file handle is placed at the end. Go through this tabular column. You will be able to answer the 1-mark questions based on this. Then, now, whenever you try to open a file, there may be some existing data in the file. Already some data will be there. Now, when you open the file in read or read+ mode, R+ mode, what happens to the existing data? There are some 10 lines, say. I've typed some 10 lines inside already. Now I'm trying to open a file. What happens to those 10 lines? The 10 lines are retained. They are safe. Nothing will happen for them. But when you open the file in W or W+ mode, the content will be overwritten. It will be erased. The contents are erased and the new contents will be overwritten. What happened when you open the file in append mode, A or A+ mode? The data will be retained. That is the purpose of append. You have to add to the existing data. So only in W mode, the existing content is overwritten. I mean erased, and then the new content is written. I hope you're clear with file opening modes. So according to the question, you have to understand which file opening mode you have to open your file with. R+, W+, A+. You have to decide according to the question given to you, right? Now, let us get into some sample programs. We'll practice some sample programs. Write a program to input line by line from the user and write it onto a text file named Next, we'll see what are all the text file methods. There are only 5 methods to handle text files. That is, to read contents, we have 3 methods. To write contents, we have 2 methods. You may be asked in 1-mark question or MCQs, what is the use or what is the return type? You can use 3 methods: read, read line, and read lines to read data from a file. What are they used for? When you simply give file handle .read without any argument inside, just read open close bracket, it will read all the contents, the entire content of the file in the form of a single string. If you give the number of bytes, say you give file handle .read of 10, it will read only 10 bytes from the current position. Okay. If you give read line of n from in the current line, how many ever bytes are available, how many characters are available, that many characters it will read. If you simply give f dot read line open close, it will read the entire line. When you give read lines, it will return the entire content of the file in the form of a list. What will the list contain? The first line will be the first element of the list. Second line will be the second element of the list. Third line will be the third element. Suppose a file contains 10 lines, then the size of the list will be 10. And every line will form one element inside the list. So read and read line will return a string. Read lines will return a list of strings. What will the list of strings contain? Every string will be one line from the file. Now, to write some content into the text file, if you wish to write a string, just a name, say you want to write a single name or a single line onto the text file, you will use write method. When you want to use a list of strings to be written onto the text file, you will use write lines, where you will have different lines as different list elements. Okay, I'll show you the demo of how to use each text method. Okay, now only when you go to the example you will understand. So let us look at the first program. Write a program to input line by line from the user and write it onto a text file named content.txt. So you're going to get some input from the user and write it onto the text file. This is the question. Now observe the question carefully. There is one data already given here, the text file named content.txt. So you have to open a file handle for the file content.txt. What is the requirement? You have to write. So what is the file mode that you have to open? W mode. There is no reading of content in this program. So you just have to open in W mode. If it is given as writing then reading, after writing you have to read the content, then you have to open in W plus mode. Okay. So observe the question. What is the requirement? Accordingly we will declare the file handle. So let us get into the program. How to write a program for this? Now let us declare a file handle. File handle equal to open. What was the name of the file to be opened? Content.txt. And what is the file opening mode? It should be W, because I am going to write content from the user. Now what was the question given? Input line by line. So you have to ask the user to input one line. If you simply give s equal to input, enter a line of text, you will be able to write only one line. So you have to give a loop. Only inside a loop you can continuously ask the user to write. So get the input from the user. Enter a line of text. Now you've received the input, you have to write it onto the text file. How to write it? We learnt there are two methods. One is write, another one is write lines. So you have to use the file handle. Remember the file handle fh.write. What is the content that you're going to write? Yes. Now the problem is when you write one line, the file handle will stay in the same line. When you write another line, again it will continue in the same line. To avoid that, after writing every line, you have to put a /n. So whenever you write a string, you attach a /n along with that, so that it will move on to the next line. The file handle or the cursor will move on to the next line, ready to write in the next line. Otherwise, all your lines will be written in the same line. I will show you how. First, we'll write it without this. I'll show you how it writes. Then you can. Now, you have to ask the user to continue or not. So you can get a choice. Say choice equal to input, press Y to continue. So if the user presses Y, we'll continue. If choice not equal to Y, break. We'll break out from the loop. If the choice is not Y, if the user presses something other than Y, we'll break. Otherwise, we'll continue writing. After that, we will, don't forget to close the file using the file handle fh.close. That's it. So what are the three steps to write the file? Open the file handle in write mode, W or W+. Then inside a loop, get a line of a text, write it in the file, then ask the user choice to continue writing or not, then close the file. Now let us save this. And run the program. Enter a line of text. I'm going to press Y and continue. I am good. Thank you. So I'm going to stop this now. Let us see what is written inside. What was the name of the file? Text files. Content. Let us see if our content file is created. I hope you are able to see this content. It is just now created. See, hi, how are you? I am good, thank you. This is what I told you. When you don't give the /n, all the contents will be written in the same line. How to avoid this? Just add, whenever you write some content, add a /n along with that. Now I'll run the same program and show you how it works. Hi, how are you? Press Y to continue. I am good. Again, I'll press Y to continue. Thank you. And now I'll press H to stop. Something other than Y. Now we'll open the file again. Where is contents.txt? Okay, have to choose text files. Content.txt. See, now we have the content written in 3 different files, right? This is how you write a content line by line. Now, the same program can be changed using write lines. So what did I tell you about write lines? Write lines method is used to write a list of strings inside the file. So to do that, first you have to have a list of string, LSTR, I am declaring as an empty list. And instead of writing the content of yes, I will append the content to the string. Okay, I'll keep adding this to the string. Now, after I finish adding all the content inside the string, when the user stops, hello, how are you? I am fine, thank you. All the contents will be added to the list of strings as different elements. See, I will show you how it works. I will print the list and show you. Now, every time, every line will be added to the list of strings. Finally, when the user stops and comes out of the loop, now we will write the content using write lines. LSTR will be written finally, not inside the loop. Okay, let us see how it works. Hi, how are you? See, now one string is added to the list. So now I'll press Y to continue. I am great. Now see, hi, how are you is the first element of the string. I am great becomes the second element of the string. Again I'll continue. Thank you. Again I'll continue. Have a nice day. Now I'll stop. Now what does the list contain? There are 4 lines of text. I am appending every line every time along with a /n. This is very important. Otherwise, all the contents will be written as the same one. Okay. Now we'll open contents.txt and find if the text file is properly created. Content.txt. This is our file. See. Hi, how are you? I am great. Thank you. Have a nice day. Each one written in different lines. So what is the difference between the first program and the second program? In the first program, we wrote using the write method inside the loop. Every time we will input one line of code and write it immediately. In write lines method, you keep appending the string to a list and finally write it using write lines. So to write content onto a text file, you will use only 2 methods, write and write lines. Okay. Next, write a program to input lines from the user. Write the lines beginning with T or capital T to a text file named tfile.txt. Write the lines beginning with A or capital A to a text file named afile.txt. So observe the question carefully. We are going to open two files now, not a single file. We are going to write the content but not in one file but in two files. What are the two files? One is tfile.txt, afile.txt. So you have to use two file handles both in W mode. So let us the first step in your program should be declaring the file handle. So let me show you this. fh1 is equal to open tfile.txt in W mode. The next one is fh2 open afile.txt also in W mode. So did I open two files now? Input lines from the user. There is no mention about the number of lines. So again you will have to use a while loop because you never know how many lines the user is going to input. So you will ask the user to enter a line of text. Enter a line of text. Now the user has input a line. Now will you simply write it? No. What is the condition given here? Write the lines beginning with small t or capital T to T file. If the lines begins with A or A, write it to a file.txt. Nothing other than this is mentioned. So we are just going to consider two conditions. So what is the first condition? If yes, now what is the condition? Beginning. So what is the starting letter referred to? S of 0. S of 0, S is the line and the starting index is 0. So if S of 0 dot lower, this is important because if it is small a or capital A, both should work. So if S of 0 dot lower equal to A, then I will write the content onto fh1 dot write because the letter starts with A. Okay, you have to write it in fh2, that is a file.txt. fh2 dot write the s plus slash n. I already told you the purpose of slash n. Elif s of 0 dot lower. If you don't give this lower, it will not work for uppercase. If you simply give double equal to A, then if I start some line with a capital A, it won't work, right? So if it starts with T, then fh1 dot write s plus slash n. Other things you can omit. The remaining lines you are not going to write it anywhere. Okay, so this is one method of an if condition. Suppose you find this dot lower and all difficult, you don't like this, then you have another method. You can give this. If s of 0 double equal to small a or s of 0 double equal to capital E. Now children, you tend to make this mistake. Don't do this. Simply you will give like this. If s of 0 equal to small a or capital A, this will cause an error. This will not work. You have to mention here also this s of 0 double equal to capital A. Same way you have to give s of 0 double equal to small t or s of 0 double equal to capital T. Then you will write in file handle 1. Now the handling should be stopped somewhere. So input a choice. Choice equal to input, press Y to continue writing. Okay. If choice is not equal to Y, you will break the loop. Then fh1 dot close, fh2 dot close. If you don't give this, then the loop will never stop. It will be a continuous one, right? Now let us see how it works. Enter a line of text. A line of text. Press Y to continue. I am trying to learn. Remember, this I am trying to learn, this line of code will not be saved anywhere because we've written the coding only for A and T. The line of moral. Press Y to continue. The book is on the table. Then Y to continue. An apple a day. I'll stop this program now. Now look at the line of text. I've given a line of text. So this has to be written in a file.txt. I am trying to learn will not be written anywhere because it starts with I. The line of moral should be written inside t file.txt. The books on the table will be written in t file.txt. An apple a day will be written in a file. So let us now verify if our writing program works well. So where is a file.txt? It is here. We'll check if it is written. See, the two lines which start with A have been written correctly. Now we'll check if t file is properly written. Where is t file? Here it is. The line of moral, the book is on the table. So whatever text starts with T, it has been written in t file.txt. So never mind if you are asked to use two file handles. It's very simple if you understand the question thoroughly. Okay. So we have seen two examples to write content inside a text file. Okay. Next we'll move on to reading content from a text file. So most of the time, at least one question in the either or you will get reading from a text file. So let us look into it. Now we'll see how to read contents from a text file. Look at the first question. In reading, write a method count to count the number of words in a text file. So it is given write a method. So you have to use a def keyword to declare a method and then count the number of words. So to do this, let's open a new file and you have to count the number of words. How will you count? You have to read the content. Now, before getting into the program, I will tell you how to read contents from a text file. There are three methods, generally three types of questions. Okay. For reading word by word, you have to use read method and split the content. For reading alphabet by alphabet, you have to use read method followed by a for loop. Followed by a loop to read alphabet by alphabet. For reading line by line, use read lines method. So these are the three things that you have to use. Just remember these three. If you follow these three, you can apply this to any kind of reading text file programs. Okay. If you want to do analyze something word by word, say for example, beginning of the word should be a count how many the words the. How many times the word the occurs in the file, how many times the word my occurs in the file, what is the starting letter of a word, anything that is related to word, you have to use read method and then split the content. When you split the content, the words will be split into a list. Then you can use a for loop to analyze word by word. Suppose you want to check alphabet by alphabet. What kind of programs will use alphabet by alphabet? For example, count the number of vowels, count the number of spaces, find out the occurrence of the alphabet T, count the occurrence of alphabet W, something like that, which needs alphabet by alphabet checking, character by character checking. In that case, no need to use any split method. Just read it and analyze alphabet by alphabet using a loop. For reading line by line, use read lines method. What is the purpose of reading line by line? Sometimes you will be asked a question. Read the content of a file and display the lines beginning with a. Count the lines beginning with T. Count the lines that are beginning with a. Some question like this which needs to analyze line by line. So let us get into the first question. What did the question say? Count number of words. Okay. So declare a file handle fh, open same. Let us take our lesson.txt, not lesson. Content.txt. That is what we created just now. Content.txt. Now we are going to read the content. So I will open the file in R mode. fh equal to open content.txt. Now, what is the question? We are going to count the number of words. So it is word by word analysis. So use the read method followed by the split method. So what should you do? Yes is equal to. So all the contents will be passed on to yes. fh dot read. Don't mention any file size here because you need the entire content inside yes. I will also show you how it is printed. What is there inside yes? We will print and check once. Then yes equal to yes dot split. You need not use any separate variable. You can split it and overwrite in the same variable. Next print yes and check again what happens. Print the same yes and check what happens. Then for every element in yes. Now what will yes contain? It will contain word by word. Now you can analyze. But in this question they are not asking us to analyze anything. You're just going to print the length of the list which will contain word by word. Now if you observe the question said write a method count. So you have to put everything inside a method called count. So just indent everything inside and call this method. You have to invoke the method, right? So let us see how it works. See? Hi, how are you? I am great. Thank you. Have a nice day. This was the content of the string yes. This happened when you did fh.read. When you do fh.read, the entire content is stored in yes. I told to print yes. That's why this is being printed. Then what did we say? Split yes and print yes. What happened? When we split this, it will be split wherever it finds a space or a line break. Okay, so here 1, 2, 3, here is a line break 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Every space or a line, it will leave a break. So this many words are now inside. How many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is how you count the number of words. How to count? Open the content using a file handle, read the content, split the content, find the length of the list. Okay, and this print is just for understanding. You need not write this code. Simply doing this will fetch you 3 good marks, right? So again I repeat, for word by word analysis, read it, then split it. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Write a method REC to print the words starting with a vowel or count the words starting with a vowel. Okay. So the same program, what is given here? Print the words starting with a vowel. Okay. So I will just change little bit in this program. Print the words starting with a vowel. So we are not going to find the length. How many words? We are going to print what? Words starting with a vowel. Okay. So for we have to analyze every word inside the list. Where is the list? What does it contain? This one. So in this, after splitting, you have to check the starting letter of every element. If it is a vowel, I am going to print it. That is the question. So how will you check? What will element contain? First it will contain hi, next it is how, or, you, I, am, good, so on. So the first element should be if ELE of 0. How to check if it is a vowel? Generally children tend to do this mistake. Please don't give this. This is wrong. An element cannot contain A, E, I, O, U at the same time. Don't do this. So you have to give double equal to A or ELE of 0 double equal to U and so on. Or make it simple. If ELE of 0 in AEIOU, capital AEIOU. Print that element. That's it. If the starting letter is small AEIOU or capital, that is if it is a vowel, print it on the screen. Now let's check how it works. See, it has checked all the lines, all the words one by one, and it has printed only the words that start with the vowel. Okay. The same program, if you want to count the words, count the number of words starting with the vowel, you just have to add one more line in this. Just add a counter variable, initialize it to 0. Instead of printing the element, you just have to increase the count. And at the end of the loop, print number of words starting with a vowel and print the count. That's all. So this is how you will count how many words are starting with a vowel. Instead of printing the element, you have to count it, and after the for loop, you have to print it. Right? Next, there is another kind of a question in the same program. Write the lines starting with a vowel to another file. So instead of counting or printing or splitting, you have to write it onto another file. Then what will you do? So you have to use two file handles now. So FW, one another file handle for writing the content. So I will write new content.txt. I'll give the name as new content, which needs a writing operation to be done. So I will open it in W mode. And instead of counting the number of words, you just have to write this line. Which line? ELE. ELE contains the word plus /n. So what will happen? The file content will be opened. The content of the file contents inside this file is read. Then it is split word by word, and we check word by word. If the starting letter is a vowel, write that word inside FW handle. What is FW handle? It refers to new content.txt. In this word, file, you need not have count because we are not going to count anything. Just okay. And this line is also not needed. We need not print anything. Okay. So the program has run successfully. Now we'll check what is there in the file called new content. Here is new content. See, all the words starting with the vowel has been now copied to new content.txt. So this is how you will write the vowels starting with, write the lines starting with the vowel to another file, right? Next we'll see what is the question that is given in the sample question paper regarding text files. Write a method count lines in Python to read lines from text file testfile.txt. Display the lines which are not starting with any vowel. So we are not going to display the words, instead we are going to display the lines. So as I said, look at the example also. If the file contents are an apple a day keeps the doctor away, we all pray for everyone's safety, a marked difference. So totally there are 3 lines, and it should display the output. The number of lines not starting with any vowel is 1. This is the expected output. So let us see, type a new program. How will you do this? FH equal to open content dot Txt, you are going to read the contents of a file. So I am opening it in read mode. Another thing, when you want to open a file in read mode, you may not even mention that because the default file opening mode is R. If you don't mention any file opening mode at all, then the file will be automatically opened in read mode. Okay. Now what should you do? You should read the contents. Now actually you are going to analyze it line by line. So I am going to give read lines command. So what will happen? Each and every line will be given as a string inside the list S. Now we will analyze every element in the list. What is meant by every element? One line will be one element inside S. So how will you check the starting letter of the line? If ELE of 0. Not in, because they say you have to count the lines which do not start with a vowel. So give not in. Because we are going to count something, initialize a counter variable as 0. If a line does not start with AEIOU, increase the count. So when a line does not start with a vowel, count will be increased. Right? And this will go on till all the elements are over in the list. And finally, print number of lines not starting with a vowel. And print the count. And you are asked to type this in a function called count lines. So this is also very important. Whatever name is mentioned in the question paper, you have to give it within that method name and invoke that count lines. This is also important. You have to call that function. So whenever you are given the name, give def this header colon and give the content, then invoke that. So you will get half mark each. You have half mark for opening the file, half mark for read lines, half mark for loop, half mark for if condition, half for count, and like this the 3 marks is split into half for every important action that you do. Let us now check how this program works. It says number of lines not starting with a vowel is 3. Shall we verify that? The file is content.txt. Let us go to content.txt. There are actually 4 lines. Out of that 3 lines are not starting with a vowel. So that's why it is showing number of lines not starting with a vowel 3. So this is how you proceed with the program. Let us look at the next question. Actually, it is a choice question. So this is the first part, this one, or write a function et count. So you have to write def et count colon, which should read each character, which means alphabet by alphabet analysis. And then count and display the count of occurrence of alphabets, capital E or capital T, including small cases also. Now you have to display how many E's are there and how many T's are there. When you have 2 counts, you should have 2 counter variable. Okay. So you have to write a function called def et count. So slowly you can do it step by step. Let us see how to do it step by step. First, declare the file handle as usual, content.txt. Before that, declare the count et. This is the name of the function. That is whatever is given in the question paper, you include that. fh equal to open content.txt. Now what is the question? Analyze alphabet by alphabet, letter by, that is character by character. Whenever you want to analyze character by character, you just have to give fh.read. That's all. The entire file will be saved inside S as a string. The data type will be string. Now, for every alphabet in S, you can have it this way. Every alphabet in S, you are going to check how many E's and T's are there. So, maintain 2 counters. Or if you don't want count 1 and count 2, give it as count E, count T. It will be easy for us to understand. Count T, count E. Okay. For every alphabet in yes, if alphabet in EE, then count E plus equal to 1. L if the alphabet in T, count T plus equal to 1. That's all. So you check alphabet by alphabet inside the string yes. What does string yes contain? The entire content of the text file. For every alphabet you will check if it is small e or capital E. Okay. You will do it this way, or you can also give if alphabet equal to E or alphabet equal to capital E. This is also right. This is another way of doing it. This is also correct. You can adapt to any method. Now, what should be displayed? Print occurrences of E or E is count E. Then occurrence of T or capital T is count T. Run this program. So occurrences of E is 3, T is 2. So this is how the program works, right? So we have covered most of the programs that may be asked in text files. So remember what are the different file modes: R plus, W plus, A plus. Then the default file opening mode is R. When you want to analyze character by character, just give dot read and go for the for loop. If you want to analyze line by line, go for read lines and use the for loop. If you want to analyze word by word, read the content, then split the content and then use the for loop, right? These are the 3 different kinds of programs that are possible to be asked in the exam. Best wishes. Thank you, children.